Welcome once again to SoCo Chat, a podcast where we hear directly from county leaders, discuss the latest news, and talk about all things concerning our beautiful corner of California known as Sonoma County.
Welcome to another episode of SoCo Chat. I'm your host, Matt Brown, Deputy Communication Manager for the County of Sonoma. Thank you for joining us. In this episode, we're sitting down with Hector Velazquez, the Executive Director of the Sonoma County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, to talk about the power of connection, cultural leadership, and economic opportunity. We're going to also learn how the Chamber supports Hispanic entrepreneurs, strengthens local partnerships, and builds a more inclusive business community here in Sonoma County. But before we get to our interview, I want to start with our trivia question. Our question today is, what is the name of the Spanish language newspaper owned by the Press Democrat? If you know, call us at 707-565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonomacounty.gov. If you are correct, you'll be entered into our weekly drawing for a chance to win a SoCo Chat coffee mug. So with that, let's get on with our discussion. Welcome, Hector. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Matt. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So just start with a little introduction of yourself. Tell us about what you do and your role at the Chamber.
Yeah, so I'm currently the Executive Director for the Sonoma County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, appointed early on in January. And then also have Nexo Media, which is my company, and also running a nonprofit, Nexo Media Foundation, now the Economic Launchpad Hub that we launched in around the COVID area.
That's great. Well, I'd hope to get into more of that, but tell me a little bit what inspired you to join the Chamber and to really help Hispanic business owners.
You know, I think when we think about the needs of the community, when we think of access and the ease to navigate different systems and understanding our community on how knowledgeable they are with technology, we see a big gap. And, the power of the Hispanic Chamber is incredible. One of the things that we've done a little bit different is that we've really reached out to, the first generation Spanish speakers, second generation, third generation, and it's made quite a difference. And it's just we always think community before ego, right? And a lot of the folks that are part of the Chamber currently have that drive to really help out those that have that passion for entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that's great. Tell me a little bit about how the Chamber works, how you support local Hispanic business owners, especially in challenging times. I'm thinking like the pandemic relief, that sort of thing. How do you do that?
So we the Chamber itself during COVID was pretty quiet, mainly because it didn't have a lot of programs to be able to assist folks. The Chamber for many years has been known for ribbon cuttings, for mixers. But, we know that the Chamber can do a lot more. So we changed that. So we really brought in Latinx Hub, which is now the Economic Launchpad Hub, under the Chamber to be able to carry out workshops. We truly believe in education. I think that many of the community is once we educate them on certain topics or certain areas of opportunity, there's a drastic change. I think we believe in long-term sustainability and long-term making sure that they're just not in this cycle where they open up a business, stay stuck in the same place for 5 years. So we really put out a plan to make sure that there's growth, but they can't do that without knowing what direction to take. So the majority of them don't have a business plan, don't have an exit plan, don't even have a budget to operate. They just open up doors and start doing business. So we want to tackle that with the Chamber. There's another excellent group that came along, which is called Latinas Emprendedoras, and it's a phenomenal group. They started with a lot of hiking, a lot of fitness, and there's some great things coming out there to be able to help out Latinas in the county. And why do we focus on that? Latinas right now are the number one driven small business entrepreneurship, and they need support, and that's what we're going to do.
That's great. Well, I appreciate that. Tell me a little bit, what do you think are the main challenges that face Hispanic business owners in Sonoma County?
I think the number one thing is historically a lot of folks want things to be done for them, right? Especially Latinos, and they go to different institutions, different organizations to get assistance. But when you're dealing with permitting, licensing, they don't understand the difference between city and county. So they go to a city and then they say we need a county permit, and then they get lost. And we have folks who have been wanting to operate or open up a small little business. First and foremost, there's customers that they can serve that need. Second, the city can benefit from taxes, and third, the city can actually benefit as well. So there's like a win-win for everybody. But because there's a language barrier, there's an understanding of a process or filling out the correct forms, you run into that obstacle. So what do? You go, they get stuck in the circle and they don't advance. And when we get involved, we get it done within a week. So I think that's what we bring the value in. We do a lot of assistance, one-to-one assistance. Gratefully, we know a lot of folks within the county, with the city, takes us a call, give them a shout out, and we get it done.
So you can really help people navigate that red tape, that bureaucracy, getting them permits, helping them get through the startup process.
100%. A lot of the organizations right in silos, right? So each of them independently are trying to do the same thing we're trying to do. And I'll tell you a little bit about later towards the end, the exciting things that we have actually coming up to be able to have everything under one roof.
That's great. Well, I want to know about the maybe an example of a success that you've seen for with this Hispanic-owned business with chamber support. Can you give us an example?
Oh my God, I got about hundreds of them, but I'll tell you one that actually comes to mind, and this is the Flores family. We started a cohort last year in the fourth quarter. And this family had struggled to get an EIN number for a year. An EIN number. Any of us who knows how to navigate the system, we can get an EIN within 5 minutes. You go online, you put in your information, ITIN or Social Security, whatever it is, and you get an EIN number. These folks took over a year. Now, by getting an EIN number, they were able to also set up their LLC. And by the end of the cohort, they landed their first commercial cleaning service. So I think that itself shows, how easy it is for many of us to be able to navigate the system. But folks like them, they need an opportunity. They want to grow, and they've been lingering around just, house cleaning, but they want to get into commercial. So all these commercial folks were asking, well, give me something. I need the insurance. I need, all these things that back you up. And for over a year, they could not get something as simple as that. And we were able to do that. An EIN number within minutes. By the end of the cohort, which, was like 2 months, they had everything in place, which then they landed their first commercial cleaning service.
That's great. So education, helping, holding hands, getting people to the correct things that they need. You guys do it all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Does the chamber engage with cultural initiatives? I'm thinking like Vida Cultural Arts, the Voceria community engagement programs that the chamber leads.
So again, a lot of organizations, I think, within the county, like Corazon Healdsburg, we have La Luz over in Sonoma. They do phenomenal work. And again, when we talk about working silos, is that each of us are trying to contribute in one way or the other. There's never been a centralized organization that could carry out a lot of the simple steps, right, to open up a business. And therefore, the launch of this new business center that we're putting together is going to bring that entrepreneur an easy flow to be able to carry out. So working with these organizations, we talk to them all the time. They call us and say, we got a customer that needs this, and they don't have the capacity to do this. They don't have it within their budget to be able to assist them. So everyone, a lot of these organizations are community based, meaning it's not specifically for the small business. But that's one thing that we're changing is we are prioritizing small business outreach with, again, education, access to capital, and a number of things.
What other kinds of events does the chamber host to help build visibility for Hispanic businesses?
So in the past, again, I stated we did a lot of mixers and a lot of ribbon cuttings, but now we are really putting in programs, and these programs are going to be focused on each of the needs. For instance, our cohorts have worked out well to where we have like a business structure. A lot of folks, we encountered an individual who wanted a loan on a third piece of property. So when we identified that she owned the property, she was doing it more for childcare and for elderly care, and she was using everything under her personal credit. She did not understand that by getting a business, getting into the business world, she actually had more access to things. Not only that, but the worst case about her situation was that she was okay paying a lot of taxes. She believed that by paying a lot of taxes that she would get better credit. The government would look at her differently, and that she was going to be successful. To where we know that you don't want to pay a lot of money right towards taxes. And I mean, incredible stories like that, to where we're able to shift them into the business world, shift them into more savings overall, and primarily them understanding that if they are paying taxes, they can actually be able to, many of them be able to do tax deductions by donating some of these funds instead of paying taxes into organizations that can elevate small businesses. So it's like a full circle.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of emerging trends or new opportunities have you noticed for Hispanic business owners?
Again, I think that Latinos are leading the way,
Yeah.
and I think that when you see the passion and that they're driven by, they have their family behind them. They are driven to make sure that they are leaving something for next generation. We identify that it's scattered. It used to be a lot of food, but now we actually, one of our cohort students that came through, she started a flower business, and you would think she would buy bulk stuff, but she's actually growing. She has a piece of land, and she has fresh flowers. You could roll up to her street, get in there, cut fresh flowers, and you have your bouquet, and that's incredible. Again, stories like that you don't know about until you're in front of them, and like, why isn't anyone paying attention? And what we're looking here at the chamber is to elevate that, to make sure that they're seeing that it's something super creative. I mean, who wouldn't want fresh flowers?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell me how the chamber partners with other economic groups like the county's Economic Development Collaborative, Corazon, Hillsburg, other groups like that. How do you partner with people?
So we've been in consistent contact with them. I think communication has been key. We've partnered with the EDC in this case to launch a podcast called Mi Negocio y Yo. And Mi Negocio y Yo, which is my business and I, is all about small businesses that share their success story, their troubles, and what have you. And it's interesting to know that every single one of these folks has some sort of barrier. We had Juan Gutierrez from Quinoa restaurant, Peruvian restaurant, who came in with his daughter. And I recall, his daughter being 5 or 6 years old. And when we brought him into the podcast, she told him things he had never heard directly from her, because as a small business owner, you really sacrifice your family time, you family, just a lot of personal time. But she was so proud of her dad, and she told him things she's never said before. And there was emotions in the room, there was crying in the room, and that's what brings that spirit of entrepreneurship. Is things like that make a difference, that inspire hopefully others, that it's okay. Your family got your back, and at the end of the day, it's all about sticking together and building some good future for them all.
That's great. Yeah. What other resources does the chamber offer? Marketing, legal, or that resource center you're talking about? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so what we have right now is that, again, through the hub, is we do advising, and everyone is in a different scenario, and we get it all. I mean, there is not one thing that I can be specific about to say that, well, to be honest, is they come in with certain needs. Just 2 weeks ago, we had an individual who wants to open up another paleteria, and they were going to be getting a franchise. They were about ready to sign a lease without having the franchise documents finalized. So imagine signing a lease and the franchise falls through. Now they're stuck with a 5-year lease with no business in hand. So we share these things to create awareness that it only takes no more than 30 minutes to get advice, understand where they're at, and that we're able to go ahead and provide some sort of direction. The great thing is that during the pandemic, we were able to partner with local organizations like Legal Aid or other, SPDC, the EDC, and each of them has a good resource. So what we ended up really building is, strategic partners that we become that source of referral, right? We want to make sure that they are taken care of on their specific needs. So the beautiful thing of what we do, and it's exciting, is that it's something different every day.
That's great. What advice would you give a someone in the Hispanic community who's looking to start a business or grow a business here in Sonoma County?
The best advice is, again, I think we always roll with this emotions. We don't think clearly. We think that we have the best new thing, and we don't prepare with a plan. And the plan nowadays has become easier to be, achievable. We got a lot of great resources or new technology like ChatGPT that could probably spit out something that is a good indicator, at least a starting base to be able to give someone a direction, and then you can tweak it. But I think really being prepared, understanding the market, understanding your services. There's so much competition out there, and you have to understand what's going to make what's going to be a difference. All we ask is take at least a 30-minute advising meeting, with us, and we will hopefully be able to provide you guidance, direction into making sure that your business is sustainable. Our goal at the chamber is we want to really focus on creating long-term success for these small businesses instead of short-term failures. We see that the restaurants, for instance, there's a notion out there that they don't succeed after 1 or 2 years, and the reason why is, again, there's when you look into those folks, a lot of them didn't have a business plan. They did not have a direction. They didn't have capital. They didn't have a backup. So therefore, they end up losing. So that's the chamber itself is really focusing on bringing a really nice structure from, marketing, from accounting. When during the pandemic, a lot of folks didn't have a simple P&L or a simple report that they would be able to access, some of the funds that the state or the federal had. And now they're aware. Now they know that they need to keep some sort of accounting situation. But again, the chamber's bringing a lot more value than just your ribbon cuttings and your work, your mixers.
Yeah. What's a great way for someone to connect with the chamber? Is your website the best way, or?
Yeah, so we're actually revamping the website. There's a lot of great things now there. There's a lot more value coming in. One of the things that we've identified with chambers is many folks go in and pay $500, $1,000, but they really don't get anything back. We made sure that everyone who is investing in the chamber, that they're getting something that they need. And the new project, if you don't mind me kind of shifting into
Please.
that, is that we are launching a business center. This business center is really being put together based on a lot of feedback that we've been getting from small businesses. The number one thing that they require is marketing. A lot of them don't have a clue. So what we're doing is we will have a media room with professional equipment, professional team that will be able to assist them to take photography, video, whatever that they need. Not only that, but also bring an educational portion to be able to use, apps to be able to edit, all their postings. So those are kind of the things that we're bringing to the center, advising, access to capital. There's some great CDFIs out there. They're lending $5,000, $10,000 with very basic documentation. So talk about, having a business resource center with all these things that are going to be accessible for a small business entrepreneur. It's like, if you've been thinking about it, now's the time to do it.
That's great. Well, such a great resource and such a great service that the chamber provides in general for all Hispanic business owners here. So really thank you for being here, Hector, and for explaining all that to us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks again. And, as a thank you for being here, we'd like to offer you one of our SoCo Chat coffee mugs. And to our listeners, we'd also like to give you a chance to win one of our SoCo Chat mugs. Just answer our trivia question and you'll be entered into our weekly drawing. As a reminder, our question today is, what is the name of the Spanish language newspaper owned by the Press Democrat? If you know, call us at 707-565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonomacounty.gov. Submit your answer to us as soon as possible for your chance to win that prize. Also, if you have comments about this or any other segment, or if you have a suggestion for a topic for a future SoCo Chat discussion, please email us at that same address, publicaffairs@sonomacounty.gov. Thank you all, and we hope you continue to follow SoCo Chat on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and of course, YouTube. See you next time. Thanks again, Hector.
Thank you.